I gotta know, like, what's the secret ingredient? God, no, why? Why? No,
Rick
why
and
is it always
Morty
this
is a
stupid?
cartoon show for adults that came back last year for a 7th season, but with a rocky start. The show was originally created by Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland, and this collaboration came to a brutal halt last year when the studio Adult Swim let Roiland go. Fans of the show became worried that the show quality would take a nosedive like The Simpsons did, by pandering to simple and easy stories and letting go of what made the strength of Rick and Morty, a variety of highly creative stories with a heavy dose of dark humor and philosophy. And here's what makes Rick and Morty such a great TV show and why the spaghetti episode, that's Amorte, might just be one of the best episodes of Rick and Morty. Normal shows tell a nice story. A nice, appealing character is a hero, he or she has an issue, some funny gags happen, some adventures occur, they grow, and the situation is resolved. When you rewatch the story, you don't learn anything more because the story was simple and you understood all of it the first time around. Rick and Morty writers build great stories by adding many more dimensions to the initial plot.
Mamma mia, that's a spicy meatball. Cut.
They add elements from other great cultural works to increase the depth of the message. They can highlight how TV shows support business interests, how disconnected we are from the food we consume, or they can comment on existing movies like Never Let Me Go. And they can do all of this in just a second, because they show us, they don't tell us. Let's take a deep dive in this spaghetti episode I keep talking about. The episode was written by Heather Anna Campbell, and the team was so surprised when they read the script that they were not sure if they should air it at all. They eventually decided to produce it and gave us one great episode of science fiction. Heather Ann Campbell shows off Rick serving delicious spaghetti to his family, who is deeply enjoying it. Morty gets suspicious and he wonders where Rick's great cooking skills come from. He finds out that Rick is harvesting the inside of dead people that are made of spaghetti. Morty gets mad, so Rick and Morty travel back to the source of the spaghettis, a planet where people who die by suicide turn into delicious spaghetti. In a classic Rick and Morty fashion, Morty tries to make things right and everything goes wrong. As soon as people find out that they can turn the dead loved ones into food and make money, the government develops this huge industry and the entire ecosystem of the planet is transformed with all of its benefits and its downsides. Pollution explodes, the business requires more people to kill themselves, and collection systems are installed to gather the bodies and collect the spaghettis. The entire fabric of society is transformed by this new business. Campbell heavily leans on a brilliant movie from the 70s called Soylent Green, to give contrast to her criticism of the meat industry. In the movie Soylent Green, the world is overpopulated and a new type of food, called Soylent Green, comes to the market. A journalist gets suspicious and tries to understand where this food comes from.
You tell everybody. Listen to me, Hatcher.
He eventually finds out that
Soylent Green is people! We've got to stop them somehow!
the journalist is treated as a madman and it is unclear if anything will change. But history is full of irony. The author of the book probably never imagined that a Silicon Valley startup would create a meal replacement product and call it Soylent. The company offers a subscription service to people who can get a boost of nutrition while avoiding anything nature made itself. The Soylent Green that Rick and his family eat is spaghetti, freshly harvested spaghetti or canned spaghetti. The Soylent Green that the people in this overpopulated world eat is a sad-looking little tablet. But as it turns out, it's all they can eat because the planet cannot feed so many people. Now, I'm sorry if I butcher the word spaghetti in this episode. I learned to say it the German way, spaghetti, even though I was like a French-speaking kid. And now I'm not entirely sure how you're supposed to say it in English, so I'm just rolling with my own bilingual culture of saying spaghetti everywhere. I just know that you're not supposed to call it spaghetto when you only have one spaghetti. I love the movie Soylent Green because it took the time to explore what happens when a planet is overpopulated and people don't have much to do. Poor people are idle, rich people are idle, and they're basically just waiting for the next sad food tablet.
The supply of Soylent Green has been exhausted. You must evacuate the area.
Rick and Morty modernizes the question with today's topics: human suffering, animal suffering, capitalism, or our production methods. They push the darkness further by having the cans showing the person that was killed to make the spaghettis. Just like we see happy cows and chicken on our meat products, we see happy people introducing themselves. But Morty won't let this happen. He's revolted. So he fights to find an alternative source of food. Rick, as usual, jumps to the idea of creating clones to spare the rest of the humans. Here, the show moves to another great work of fiction, Never Let Me Go. In this dystopian novel, people create clones of themselves to harvest their organs. The clones are kept apart of society and indoctrinated into their future role. It is a deeply touching and sad story. Rick and Morty doesn't really do touching or sad.
That was some speed run of Never Let Me Go, huh?
Spoilers, Rick!
I guess all clone stories turn out the same way.
They explore different solutions to this spaghetti problem and settle in for a creepily engineered human thing that can kill itself. Activist groups end up destroying the industry and society crumbles. It's not the first episode of Rick and Morty that I've reviewed on my channel, so you will get a link at the end of the video. But this is one of my favorite episodes ever, and I just love how they use marketing in a very crass and obvious way to highlight the criticism of society. First, we have no idea where the food comes from. The cans are industrially produced and carry the face of Morty, a person who made the planet very rich very fast. And this Morty sounds like a good person. The true developers of the product remain hidden. The industrial cans include a nice little story supposed to both tell us the truth and make people feel good about eating the product.
Hi, I'm Roger Wayne Martyr. I was a serial killer and cannibal, and now I get to kill myself and be food for you, which I suppose is a silver lining to all my misdeeds. Anyway, please enjoy me.
The show overplays the creep factor so we can see the message.
So, yes to people?
Whoa!
Once the industrial process has evolved enough, there is very little that is human about the food. So the advertisement starts becoming more plain, cheaper looking, and technically a lie. It sounds funny and edgy, but when we look at the cheap meat products in our supermarkets, we quickly realize that sausages have little meat and are made of scraps and filler content just like these cans are. And the industrial food production processes, here kebab meat, is not exactly glamorous.